You can see me? You can see me. Let me try to tilt this. Let me try to tilt this better. I've got Rosie. Rosie's laying on the floor. Oh, Rosie, don't be playing with my cords. Okay, she's exiting. Rosie is exiting you all. And hello, Applebrooks, honey. Hello, Abigail. Um, I've also got I got my tablet over here on the stand right next to this one thing so I can see it. So, and just like that, he lost his brain. Let me tell you how I got to that conclusion. And this was really serious what happened to him. He is this man. I went to the bookcase in the little office area that my husband that he uses. And can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Um Andrea, honey, this is the weird thing. I was trying to put a light in the cabinet that I had gotten a long, long time ago as a bookshelf, lighted bookshelf and stuff. And I had stuck a bunch of books on it that I had bought over the years. And when I reached to put the light in, I felt these books behind it. And I saw this book right here. The books fell behind it. It's called The Last Christian. I this is really weird. The back of it reads, "In the future, it's possible to live forever, but at what cost?" At what cost? I didn't even know I had this book. If you're like me, you go through the phases where you buy books. You go to the thrift stores, you go to the Goodwill, you go to the yard sales, and you buy books based on the frame of mind that you're in or the period of life that you're in at that time. And I did. You can see it's literally been shoved. It was shoved. I haven't been in that bookcase. I could tell you it's been around 6 or 7 years. I haven't even been in there. It says AD 2088. The missionary daughter, Caldwell, emerges from the jungle for the first time in her 34 years. The sole survivor of a mysterious disease that killed her village, Abby goes to America only to discover a nation where Christianity has completely died out. A curious message from her grandfather assigns her to a surprising mission to reintroduce the Christian faith in America, no matter how insurmountable the odds. But a larger threat looms. This is what got me when I pulled it out. The world's leading artificial intelligence industrialist has perfected a technique for downloading the human brain into a silicone form. Brain transplants have begun, and with them comes the potential for eliminating the physical death altogether. But at what expense? If you're just tuning in, I found this shoved in the back of my one bookshelf down in the office. As Abby navigates, this is the back of it, a society grown more addicted to stimulating the body than nurturing the soul. She and the Creighton Daniels historian, troubled by his father's unexpected death, become unwitting targets of the powerful men who stop at nothing to further their nefarious goals. Hanging in the balance, the spiritual future of all humanity. If you're just tuning in, this is how it was in my bookshelf, like that. I was trying to find a light to turn on the bookshelf because it's dark in that part of the room, and I thought, "What is this book back there?" I thought, "I guess I bought it." It says, in this fast-paced thriller, startling near-future science fiction, mind you, this book says it's science fiction. collides with thought-provoking religious themes to create a spell-binding the what if. So sci-fi, so this is how the book was. Remember today, if you remember today, I did a video, The Soul Tribe. Rosie, honey, what you doing? You look like a sweet little baby. Her so precious. She is so precious back there. You can do it, Rosie, honey. You want to sit in the chair with me, honey? You want to? Come on, Rosie, you can do it. Right there, honey, because you're a baby. You can do it, Rosie, honey. Do you want to sit there? You can. I'm taking up your chair, Rosie. Okay, she decided she wants to get down. Yeah, she's a pretty baby. She's gonna lay right over there on the floor. This book, okay, in the video today that we did, I remember saying, where do you think they got the idea of downloading the consciousness and putting it in a body to where you'll live forever? You won't die. Remember that? If you watched the video earlier, it was a very serious video. Anyhow, this right here, I'm going to read you this part. And we're going to look at this. I don't even know how this thing got in there, but I'm going to read it. It looks like if it's cursive. I don't even know. If it's somebody personal, I won't read it. But this is the first time I've ever opened up this book. And there is a prelogue on it. Prologue. How we doing over here? Shalom, kings and queens. Um, it starts. It says April the 3rd of 2028. Let me tell you when this book was written. This book was published. The copyright by the Lockman Foundation. It says 1960, 62, 63, under used by permission, the NET Bible, 1996. It's got all this, whatever. The ISBN, the copyright of this particular book is in 2010. 2010 is the thing when this book was put out, and they're talking science fiction on the back. This is supposed to be science fiction, mind you. Good evening. So you listen to this. Oh my gosh, I don't want to read it. It kind of shocked me. We're gonna read it. We're gonna read what happens. It's April the 3rd. April the 3rd of 2088. This you're gonna listen, and it's not science fiction. It's not. I see your neurons firing, Ray. The voice was familiar. One Ray Caldwell had known for decades. Bryson Nichols' face came in to view overhead. I must be on my back. He had no such sensation. He tried to turn his head to the right and then to the left. We got a man laying on a table strapped down. He tried to turn his head to the right and then to the left, and it didn't respond. He tried moving his fingers. There was no sensation. Panic swept through him, and he was paralyzed. I brought you back to consciousness to let you know about the procedure. The procedure on whom? There were no more procedures scheduled. Caldwell had canceled them all. Nicholas' face slid in and out of view as he hovered above and behind, wielding surgical instruments with which Caldwell was all too familiar. So I guess we got two surgeons, some kind of two people, two professionals here. No, he wouldn't. He's thinking my friend wouldn't do this to me, is what he's thinking. Nichols spoke calmly as he worked. I do so apologize for having drugged you, but it was the only way. You know how much I valued our working relationship, our friendship, these many years. I'd never do anything to jeopardize that friendship. But you were acting non-essentially, and nonsensically, whatever that is. Ray, halting the procedures at this point was sheer madness. You are just tuning in. He lost his brain. This is supposed to be sci-fi. I told myself it was the onset of disease, that you weren't thinking straight, or perhaps you were having cold feet about your own procedure. In any case, for your own good, I had to accelerate the schedule. Nichols paused, his upside down face fixed in Caldwell's line of vision, smiling. Your alphas reveal your reluctance, but I do forgive your response. Ray, I know that once the procedure is complete, we'll see eye to eye. He's forcing his friend against his will, drugged him, put him on the table. He's going to do a procedure on him. This book is supposed to be sci fi. I just found it in my bookcase. It's been there, I guess, around 7 years. We're talking about his brain. He's going to lose his brain, is what he's going to do. And it's supposed to be a sci fi book. And it was written in 2010. Caldwell examined Nichols' face as he spoke. He was calm, purposeful, self assured, no trace of concentration concerning the crime he was about to commit. Oh, Ray, to be at last, to be free at last from the constraints of biological intelligence. How I wish I was in your shoes. He does not. He was too afraid. He just wanted to use his friend first. The room fell silent, save for Nichols' movements and the methodical hum of the neural scanners. Caldwell knew the routine. He knew the routine. He had performed it himself numerous times, though not to completion. Think. He had to think. Within the hour, he would be disconnected from his biological brain forever. If only he could talk, he could dissuade Nichols from. If you're just turning in, thank you, the sword. Um, he's going to lose. He's lost his brain. He ain't lost it yet. You're going to hear it. This is supposed to be sci-fi. Nichols' face reappeared. The procedure was ready. Caldwell in, intuited now was his final chance to change his destiny. Pat your hand, Ray, but I know you can't feel it. I want you to know that I'll be with you throughout. Nichols leaned closer to Caldwell's face. His voice was softening. I have to admire. I'm envious. We had always planned on my being the one unveiled. And now it appears that you will be the world famous one, the first transhuman. Y'all, please give this video a thumbs up. Transhuman. This is fiction, science fiction, or whatever they want to call it. It's not supposed to be real. He straightened up. I could be bitter, being supplanted by you in that regard, but of what value? Ultimately, it's the recognition we receive from our achievements, isn't it? Is it not of minor importance compared to the contribution that we make to the advancement of our species, of the evolution of the universe itself? Nichols glanced to his right. I can tell by the scan on your brain that you aren't in full agreement. He cocked his head slightly. Ray, are your gammas spiking? I recognize that configuration. Are you trying to tell me something? He's got his friend strapped to the table, getting ready to take his brain out of his head. Two neurosurgeons. He drugged his friend. He can't move. He's paralyzed his whole entire body to turn him into a transhuman. Okay, we can watch it. We're going to listen to it. Um, he turned back toward his patient and shook his head. You never cease to amaze me. I doubt any of our colleagues could manipulate their brainwaves with such ease. That's why I teamed up with you so many years ago. Always amazing. Nichols stepped away from Caldwell's sight, then reappeared. I'm putting you back to sleep now, Ray, and when you wake up, everything will be complete. Your misgivings, whatever they may be, will be alleviated. You'll be everything that we have worked toward, everything humanity has dreamed of for millennia. Our friendship, our partnership in this grand endeavor will continue. Shortly, you'll perform the procedure on me. The two of us will lead humanity into its greatest adventure. He smiled broadly. See you on the other side. With all his will, Ray Caldwell commanded his arms to move, his legs to break free from the bands that held him to the surgical table. But it was of no use. In a few moments he would lose consciousness. When he awoke, he would be missing the only thing that made life, existence itself, even worthwhile. Drowsiness stalked him. His mind began to swim. 3 hours and 6 minutes later, Caldwell's new brain powered up. He awoke. Electronic impulses coursed through the silicone mass that his cranium now housed. Terror seized him. He bolted upright and he scanned the room. His gaze landed upon the smiling face of Bryson Nichols, standing 4 feet away. Oh, brave new world that has such people in it, Ray. How do you feel, my friend? Past Nichols in a glass jar, he spotted the 3-pound mass of gray matter that had been extracted from him. His terror subsided into resigned grief. What he had feared most had come to pass. It was gone, utterly gone. He lost his connection. That is that was this thing called the prologue. This is this is supposed to be science fiction. We're talking about a guy, these two, I guess, neurosurgeons who he was the first transhumanist. The first transhumanist took his brain out and stuck it in a glass jar. And with the world's leading they were the world's leading artificial intelligence industrialists, perfected the technique for downloading the human brain into a silicone form, Silicon Valley, right? Took his brain out, the transhumanists. We talking about this guy. It's not funny. They're talking about the first transhumanists, this book. I found it. It's shoved in the back of my bookcase for around 6, 7 years. I didn't even know I bought it. And I turned to the back. It's talking about the brain implants. And it's today's video that I did in the living room. I was talking about them wanting to download the consciousness of the human and putting it in a body so that the to live forever. And then this book shows up. I didn't know I bought this book. This is like years and years ago, shoved behind my bookcase. Um, they got him three weeks later. We can. You want to hear what happens 3 weeks later to him? Um, I don't know. 3 weeks later, they jump to 3 weeks later in the chapter, and then they go to 9 days later. I always expected to teach history. I never expected to make it. Making history is the stuff of inventors and politicians and astronauts, not professors, especially not those with both feet in the past. Visitors to my office, and they are few since no one is on college campuses anymore. The brass doorknob requires a physical key. Meeting me in virtual reality. Would listen to this. We gotta read it. They're having virtual reality here. That's what they're talking about. This is from 2010. This is supposed to be make believe. It's a make believe story. Make my nose itch. There's nobody in his office. There's nobody turning the thing. Meeting me in my virtual reality office, identical to my physical one. Students are always surprised by two things: the books and the smell. Though they are the one and the same, and of course, they have enough old books on hand, and you get a musty smell. No one knows that anymore because no one owns books anymore. Nobody owns books anymore in this make believe reality. With the exception of the door and a large window directly behind my desk, my office walls are covered floor to ceiling, wood bookcases filled to overflowing. Where'd you get all those books? The students ask. The less polite ones add, why do you have them? I like being surrounded by books. I always have, even as a kid. I used to visit my grandparents' house and climb up into the attic and dig through those dusty boxes looking for old kids' volumes. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Harry Potter and the Planet Nine series, the classics. What is Planet Nine series? You heard of the Planet Nine series? I've never heard of the Planet Nine series. What is it? I'm going to pause right here because I'd like to think about the Planet Nine. Is that Nibiru? Is that Pluto? What is it? Planet X? The Planet Nine series. So there, I think there's a clue in this book. Something called, this is the books that he had. Planet Nine series, the classics. Um, why don't you just experience those stories in virtual reality like the other kids, he says. My father would ask. He worried that I'd fall behind times technologically, which I did, but I also cultivated a love of books and with it, a love of learning. You've never heard about it? Okay, well, there's something called the Planet Nine series. There's supposed to be make believe in here. I've heard of Planet Nine. NASA's had mentioned Planet Nine before. By the time I finished explaining why I'm a bibliophile, most students scrunch. What is the smell? And then at point, whatever, what point? Good morning, Alistair. Alistair, I don't know what he deserted the floor. He's in his office. Culture, pulse, number, image, chair. No, I don't want to read that. They got a police officer. They're shaking hands. No, I don't want to read that either. I don't want to read it. I don't like to read the rest of this. I don't, but there was a note contained in this book, and I don't know who it's from. I don't know how it got in here. It's got my name on it. It's got my name on it. I don't even know where this book came from. What if somebody did give that to me and I don't even know it, but it's got my name on it? This is the first time I've opened that book. Feel the pages. It's even got whatever on it. It's got my name on it. Look how the book is bent. This literally has been stuffed in this bookshelf down there in the office behind other books. It fell behind the thing. That's why it's got this crease in it. Okay, let me read it. You have an excellent heart. Don't let anyone change you. It is a gift many people don't have. It comes from God. He gives it freely if you only use it wisely. I'm going to read it because it was in this book. His word states to do unto others as you would have others do unto you. I call this respect, trust, etc. If we get burned, so deal with it respectful. You have in a way, you something of you something. Now see what happens. God works in mysterious ways. I think that if a something is wrong, actually is honest, they make it amends. It's up to God. God's will now, heaven. Your heart has been in the right place so far. You did not want to hurt anyone. Then you want to, and you didn't. Something hurt your God. Trust, believe, and hope. There are more people like either way you will be okay. um I can hardly read this cursive. Heaven something someone expects you to be. That's why loves you. Say it only. Heart is still in the right place. When you something, keep it right. Something yourself, and everything works if you go something. This is weird. God bless you. Greta, I don't know. Greta. I can barely read the handwriting, you all. How did that get in this book? Greta. It's like a Greta in this. This is strange. As you are tuning in, there's no date on it. There's no date on it at all. It's no date. Greta, I'm gonna be okay. Heaven feel you are gracious. You're gracious. All right. Gonna put that in there. The last Christian. And it doesn't even have to be the last Christian. If you're going to get your brain implant, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what faith you are in, what religion, no nothing. The brain implant. They're going to take the brain out of your head and give you a silicone brain. Actually, silicone brain. They got the brain chip. Do they want to? He lost his brain. He's the first transhumanist. I don't even know where this book came from. I have no idea. I think I might have got it. Um, I think I might had. This is oh, something about being forced to do something. We got this guy Nichols in here again. If you constantly okay, he's getting his brain's getting an upload. This Nichols guy. They got some kind of silicone brains, aren't programmed like a robots. They are struck like I'm good guy. Talking about the silicone brains with carbon base, the carbon. They're talking about let me see this guy. 7. They're talking about their head. They're talking about the grid. I'm going to read this one chapter. They're talking about the grid and they're talking about the virtual reality and they're talking about their brain. It's chapter 13. You're just tuning in. See, I'm giving myself a hot flash. Let me get a drink of water. Y'all can get yourself a drink of water. This is like it's wild. My husband filled this up with purified water. And I said, well, you might have to pour some water out there because it's full to the top. And Rosie was drinking out of this. She drank that much water. I told him from now on, he's going to have to put purified water in her drinking bowl. She was so thirsty. I poured the rest of the water in her bowl that she drinks out of. She drank out of it. And I thought, he goes, you going to drink that after Rosie? And I thought, no. But there is the line in there. Rosie drank it from the top to the line. So probably she drank maybe an eighth a cup of water. She was just setting up there drinking out of it with her poor little tongue. I know I'm not going to drink after her because she might have something wrong, but I told him he's going to have to give her purified water. He said, well, I gave her water from the refrigerator. I said, well, no, she needs purified water from whatever he has it from. Mm, it's purified water for Rosie. He just looked at me and I said, she's getting purified water from now on. I said, go over there and pour that water out. He goes, well, you do it. So I did, and I poured water in her bowl. Y'all like, he lost his brain. He pure if I'd I like that, y'all. We're going to hear about the brain, and this is the chapter 13. This is officially my place, Sabin noted as he and Abby walked through the front door of Fort Worth. Fort Worth. Well, who lives in Fort Worth? They set their bags in the foyer. You mean the one in Washington, isn't it? I thought, since you're the husband, sort of. Sabin smiled. My life partner. It's only a 10-year contract. They had a 10-year contract? And no, being the male doesn't make any difference. Lauren owns the place in D.C., having 2 homes, giving us some time apart. Every relationship needs space. And let me show you around. So they walk through the house. This is the master bedroom. The guest room is upstairs. You can put your stuff up there. Here's the kitchen, a bit out of date. Well, not for you. They smiled at each other. The breakfast room, the utility room, he opened the door into it. Through it, they walked through a pair of swinging gates. The living room, Abby stared at a teenager laying on the couch, and she appeared to be asleep. Asleep. Okay, she's asleep on the couch. But Abby guessed she was actually in virtual reality. This teenager's in, they call it VR, virtual, that's the abbreviation. This is from 2010. They're talking about something in the virtual reality. Who is that? That is Lauren's daughter, Chloe. She's staying here for the summer while we go back and forth to DC. Lauren has a daughter. She didn't mention that. Sometimes she doesn't. She had her with her previous life partner. I'm thinking that they have contracts now to be with somebody for 10 years. Somebody suggested that before. Where is that at? Did you hear about that before? How you could have a contract where you be married to someone for 4 years and then you could get out of the contract and then you could marry somebody else. Okay. So, but they're in a 10-year contract. Okay, Lauren had a daughter from somebody else. Okay. Um, from her previous partner. So Chloe opens her eyes and said, "Hey, you made me jump." Sabin walked in the room and took a seat. Abby followed. "Chloe, this is your cousin, actually, Abby Caldwell." "Hi, Abby." Sabin shook his head. "Were you working on your final project for biology that's due soon, right?" Chloe shrugged her shoulders. "I was having sex with Jared." She looked at Abby. "My boyfriend in virtual reality." She was doing that in virtual reality. You ever remember seeing that? There was this movie that this guy was in. I think it was Tom Cruise or somebody. I don't know. It was a long, long time ago. It was based in the future, and this girl had those virtual reality headsets on, and she told him to put the virtual reality headset on because they wanted to make out. She goes, "It's really good in virtual reality." He said, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it." This was years and years, and this is around 20 or 30 years ago. Probably 30 years ago, I think I seen a movie like this. I'm serious. Now we're in the book in 2010, and this girl said that's what she was doing in virtual reality. This is the book. This is the book. Abby felt appalled. The girl looked so young and innocent. Young women in her village were married off at an early age, but this felt different. Um, she watched Sabin shoot Chloe a look. Chloe made a face in response. "What? It's nothing to hide." "It's nothing to hide." "Lauren and I have asked you not to do that in the living room." Chloe sat up. "What's the difference does it make? What difference does it make?" Do you know that there was a politician who said that when they asked this politician when the one law was in effect, she stood before the reporters and they said, "What part of the Constitution gives you the right to do this?" She's looking around and she goes, "What difference does it make?" She did. In her initials were NP. 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 Okay. Okay, we're talking about he lost his brain. This guy got his brain, he got a silicone brain put into his head. He became the first transhumanist. Um, non-player, what's NPC mean? I don't know what NPC means. What does NPC mean? Oh, was it Hillary? Was that her who said, "What difference does it make?" Um, etc. Look, Gina, the real people and food. Yes. Okay. So she got a virtual. We're talking about virtual reality, and this is the things that kids will be doing, or they're not already doing with it. Okay. And probably adults alike. This will be their life. Just take away the human experience for all things. Was the wife of the oh, okay, that's who it was, Carly, honey, thank you. I knew it was one of them. Oh, a non-player character. Oh. Hey, was it that, Sage? We need women. Today is it International Women's Day? We are the women. It's International Women's Day today. That's right. International Women's Day. We salute all of the women. That's what we do. That's what somebody said. I hope it is. I hope it is International Women's Day. Somebody better verify that. That's right. Now this is chapter 13. All right, you all. Let me see this. What difference does it make? It's not like you can see anything. You can't even tell what I'm doing. I'm just laying there. She's just laying there. You can't even tell what I'm doing, she says, with her virtual reality headset on. Every day is Women's Day. Um, oh my gosh. I really didn't know this stuff. Save inside. All right, let's move on. Chloe, would you take Abby's suitcase upstairs? Why can't she take it? Because she's our guest. Would you do it, please? Chloe rode her. Oh my gosh, this is going to be wild. How exactly do people touch and hear and taste things in virtual reality? How do people touch and feel things in virtual reality, you all? Yes, it's International Women's Day. It's just lovely. It is. This woman's reading something that I found in my bookcase, shoved behind a thing. Okay, here's the virtual reality. It's not that complicated. I mean, the technology is, but the concept isn't. We all have, we all have neural implants that receive input from the grid's virtual reality programming. They got their neural implants from the virtual reality, from the grid, virtual reality grid. Is the neural implant this surely this was not the silicone brain. They must be talking about some other type of implant. This is 2010. It's supposed to be make believe. Make believe. Hello, Clayton, honey. Make believe, and we got our neural implants, and we receive input from the grid's virtual reality programming. It causes our motor neurons to experience the same sensations that we experience in the physical world. In the physical world. Oh my gosh. The neural messages are processed exactly the same way. Actually, the sensations are even more pure in virtual reality. Remote neural monitoring via satellites. Oh my gosh, even more pure in virtual reality. Everything is a bit enhanced. The tastes, the smells, the touch. That's why most people would rather do things in virtual reality, especially something like sex. My gosh. Abby's voice caught in her throat. but she's just a how old is Chloe? I realize that this may seem very strange to you, he says. Kids are usually granted access to virtual reality at 13. Chloe is 14. I apologize if Chloe embarrassed you. This is the future, according to this book. She shifted in her chair. No, that's okay. It's your house. I want you to do whatever you usually do. It all just takes a bit of getting used to. I'm sure, he says. I set something up on the vision screen for you, said Sabin. Um, Sabin cleared Abby's dinner plate from the table. An interview with Bryson Nichols that Bryson Nichols did today on the grid. Bryson Nichols. Nichols is the one who strapped his friend to the bed and took his brain out of his head and replaced it with a silicone brain and against his friend's whatever. That's what he did. Took his brain out. And he said, you're the first transhumanist. Now he's talking about this guy who did the procedure on his friend is what he's saying. Brian Nichols, he's the head of NTI. Your grandfather was the chief neuroscientist. He and Nichols were the primary creators of the NTI's latest invention, which is what? He says, you haven't heard? She said, no, it's the artificial brain. So at this point, they all got neural implants in their head. They haven't got the artificial brain yet. Okay. Uh, Abby looked at him dumbfounded. An artificial brain? My grandfather was involved in creating artificial brains? He was one of the leading neuroscientists in the world. He and Nichols had been working on this together for 20 years. 20 years. How do you know? Through Lauren. Nichols is her primary political benefactor, which means what? It means he pays for her seat in Congress. He walked into the living room, pulled up the vision screen. So, do you want to watch the interview? Yes, definitely. So, two people appeared on the screen. Meredith Norby, a science reporter, introduced Nichols. You are literally not the same person you were a month ago. Explain what happened to you, Norby began. She was, like everyone else in the media, slender and well dressed, with an air that toggled between confidence and arrogance. Nichols looked relaxed, as he always did during the interviews. I haven't changed exactly, actually, at all. I'm still just as much Brian Nichols as I've ever been. Some would argue that the alteration that you've undergone makes you no longer you. Nichols smiled coyly. Well, Meredith, we can't control what others may think, can we? What makes us ourselves isn't the particles that compose our physical beings at any given moment. Those particles are constantly changing, and all the molecules in our bodies run over every month or so. They turn over every month or so, even the ones in our brains, yet we remain the same people. Why is that? And she's saying, well, you tell me. You tell me. Because what makes us ourselves are the patterns of informations that compose us, originally found in our DNA. That's what NTI's new technology does. It preserves the patterns of information while replacing our biological neurons with a silicone neural net. None of my essence has been lost. I'm going to live forever. The interviewer leaned forward with her brow furrowing. But how do you know that your silicone brain will take the same path or make the same choices as your carbon based one would have? Nichols shook his head. I don't. But neither did I know how my carbon based brain would react to any given circumstance. Brains operate on quantum level algorithms that are inherently unpredictable. Saying what a brain would have done is impossible. So it's inaccurate to say I'm altering what would have been for my future. That future never existed. What might have happened is only one of the myriad possibilities. Even now, with a silicone based brain, there are too many quantum variables to say how I'll respond. Having a silicone brain doesn't make me less than human. Silicone brains aren't programmed like that. They're not programmed like a robot's. They're structured like a carbon based brain. Norby glanced at her e-pad. Other than the fact that it declines in the latter years, what's wrong with the way the biological brain works? Nichols chuckled. Well, that's substantial problem, don't you think? The brain's becoming diseased and dying. We have ameliorated it. We have ameliorated that. But to get to your question, nothing's wrong with the way the brain works, assuming you are a hunter gatherer circa 50,000 BCE. Yeah, we're reading this book. The brains were inherited, that we inherited, are great at some things, facial recognition. For instance, a quite complex task that was once critical for survival. They're lousy at other tasks, such as processing large amounts of financial information quickly. With our mastodon hunting ancestors, rarely had they had to do it. Which our mastodon hunting ancestors rarely had to do. The only way for us to transcend these limitations is to merge with technological intelligence. We got to have a symbiotic relationship. We all have neural implants already, and our new technology is simply the next step. Norby shifted in her seat. Sabin could tell that she was enjoying this interaction, but she continued acting a devil advocate. How could we meet the resource needs of an earth on which no one ever dies, but new persons are constantly added? Nichols smiled. Your question presumes that everyone will have physical bodies. Once people's brains are uploaded into computer substrates, I believe many will choose to live in virtual reality. He lost his brain. He leaned forward and he had a sip of water. However, I'd venture to say that transhumanity's vastly superior intelligence will solve that problem rather easily. Not only will Earth support a virtual limitless population, but Mars and the moon will be habitable for large numbers. In addition, colonizing other solar systems will, for the first time, be feasible. Anyone uploaded into a computer substrate could make the trip in virtual reality and download themselves into a nanite body upon arrival. Nichols spoke with an extra gleam in his eye when he talked about the space travel. Um, when he talked about the space travel, Chloe walked into the living room and sat on the couch. Why are you watching something on a Vices screen? Sabin frowned at her. For Abby, quiet, please. But why remove your biological brain now? Norby asked. Why not upload your brain into the software form, store it, and do the transplant when your biological brain has gotten worn out? That's an excellent question. There are two primary reasons. The first is a sense of continuity of one's personhood. If you stored your brain and you waited 10 years, then did the transfer, you'd lose the intervening years. But what if you constantly updated the software upload, say weekly? Nichols shook his head. That would require a full brain scan, which is time consuming and expensive. No one would even do it monthly. The better option is doing it the complete brain transfer now, which leads us to the second reason. The silicone substrate simply provides a better brain, much faster, with more connections, providing much greater intelligence than even the most enhanced biological brain. Yeah, librarian Carly. Norby leaned back in her chair. There are critics who would say you're nothing more than a robot. You're not a human. If your definition of human is limited to a chemical based brain tied to a decaying carbon based body, you may have an argument. But my definition is much broader than that. I think the core of humanity is the intelligence, the creative spirit, and the ability to adapt that evolution has produced in us. That's the key to being human, not the physical molecules that make up this body to any given day. The process we're invented, the process we've invented doesn't dispose of our humanity. Rather, it elevates our humanity and it enables us to fulfill our destiny. Well, they got a decaying carbon based body. Remember you got to watch your carbon footprint. How we doing here? We doing okay? I'm sorry, you. I'm going to finish reading the chapter 13. Um, this is sci-fi. This is not real. We need a delete button. Julia Lee, honey, what would you like a delete button for? Julia Lee, tell me. Um, yeah. And what do you see as that destiny? She asked him. Nichols grinned broadly. To spread our intelligence to all corners of the universe. Literally, the universe. Absolutely, the universe. The most powerful force we know. The one with the greatest effect on existence. Is intelligence. By merging the biological and the non biological, we have no limit on how vast our intelligence can be. Some people will say that you're taking nature's plan into your own hands. Nichols seemed impatient with that question. We are nature. We are the product of natural evolutionary forces. Now, through us, evolution shifts mediums. It's not simply biological, it's technological. Bringing us back down to earth for a moment. What if some people don't want to go along with this? No one will force them to do so. But why would anyone oppose? Why would they want their existence to cease then? For the first time in human history, they can prevent it. They can prevent it. But are you just setting up another haves and have nots situation? Some people get perpetual life, most around the world do not. He nodded. But that's the case with any new technology. At first, it will be available, affordable to some, eventually to the entire world. My goal is for us to end death as we know it on the earth within 50 years, for the essence of every person to live perpetually in an uploaded state. It will require the combined global efforts of the government and private sectors, but we can do it. We will do it. The transhuman age has dawned. The program ended. Sabin looked over at Abby, who sat silently. So, what do you think, Abby? I still can't believe my grandfather helped invent this. Chloe says, why not? I think it's unnatural. You think it's better to die? No, Abby looked at Chloe in the eye. I think it's better to have faith in Jesus. Chloe stared at Abby for a moment, then looked at Sabin and laughed. Okay, whatever. Did you find anything interesting in there? Abby swung around and looked out from the closet into the bedroom toward the voice. Sabin was standing over her. She smiled and she nodded toward a low hanging shelf. I was just looking through these framed photos that were stacked in here. They look like family pictures. I was hoping to find one of my grandparents. He sat on the floor. Yeah, that's unlikely. He picked up a frame and he glanced at the photo. Why wouldn't Lauren have a picture of Poppy? He was her uncle. It seemed odd giving her association with Nichols. Sabin shook his head. She had a falling out with him when she was a teenager and it never got repaired. I thought that she might change when Lauren got involved with Nichols, but it didn't, so she can be pretty new stubborn. Abby lifted a final frame off the shelf and looked at a picture of people that she did not even know. I can't stop thinking about the interview with Nichols that he invented the artificial brain. I just can't believe my grandfather would be involved in this type of work. Why? It's because of his faith. His faith in what? In God. You didn't know that he was a Christian? Sabin looked surprised. No, he really was. He must have kept it under wraps. Abby burled. I wouldn't think so. She began stacking frames back on the shelf. How did he die exactly? Oh, she wants to know how her grandfather died. Hey, you can hear me? Oh, y'all hear me? Um, I'm gonna eat cereal, Nancy. It really sounds good. I'm gonna have some Raisin Bran when I get through doing this live stream. I'm gonna have some Raisin Bran cereal. It sounds really delicious. We're almost done with this. I wanted to hear about their brain. They got to. We can make it through here, but this is our future. All right, bright. Okay, how did he die? She said a brain aneurysm. I believe. Kind of weird since he was a neuroscientist. You'd think he would have his own brain scanned regularly. Apparently, he didn't. It's a shame that you missed meeting him by just a few weeks. Oh, he died. He had an aneurysm in his brain. Given all you had in common, I'm sure he would that would have meant a lot to you and to him. Abby lifted the frame off the floor and placed it back. I never really knew him, but I miss him. I feel like he's the one person here that I really would have connected with. Chloe, did you know if you have any unleavened bread? Abby watched from the kitchen entrance as Chloe shut the refrigerator door and looked at her. Any what? Unleavened bread. It's made without yeast. You can't make bread without yeast. We gonna get some cereal? Yes. She paused, getting into a disagreement. Can you point me to some bread, any bread in the pantry? Do you have any juice that's made from fruit? There's mango in the fridge and a orange. She gathered the bread and stuff and she went to her bedroom. Um, yeah. Let me look this you up. I don't want to read it all. She took communion. She took her communion is what happened. Um, let's see. That's right. We got we got transhumanism and we got neural implants in the future. This book was it was published, I guess, the copyright date of 2010 with two neuroscientists who spent 20 years creating the first silicone brain, and they took his brain out, and all the neurons and everything worked in the brain, all that stuff. But the people on Earth, a neural implant in their brain, and I don't know if their neural implant is their actual brain. I have no idea. Let me see if their neural implant is there. Do we have a silicone brain? Silicone brain. Silicone brain technologies. No, silicone brain. uh, I don't know why they got. Is it silicone brain technologies? I don't know what they do. Something with silicone. Um, do you have a silicone? You don't have silicone. Silicone brain implant. Oh, my battery's running low on here. Oh, when I went to look at this, my computer automatically shut down. This thing was literally, it was charged completely. It just shut down on me. Wow. It just shut completely down on me. Just just like that. When I wanted to see it. You can see the red battery down there. It's got the red battery down there at the bottom. Shut down on me. Oh, they can freeze your chat over your profile and your devices. No, I wanted to see it. I did. I wanted to see if they had a your battery's very low. The silicone brain implant. That's what I wanted to see. An implant. Brain, artificial brain trials. Elon Musk brain chip from Neuralink lines up with the clinical trials. The future, the future of artificial intelligence is the 3D silicon brain. Is the 3D silicone brain that is described in this book right here. That's the future. The silicone brain. That's what he did. That's the future. How can we build an artificial brain from our knowledge? The biocomputer combines the lab grown brain tissue. Artificial brains are helping scientists study the real thing. The new AI circuitry that mimics the human brain. The human brain. It's pouring down rain, you all. This is supposed to be a book. They got brain switches. They can switch your brain off. They can switch your brain off. Oh, a silicone. Look, Wall Street Journal. This is 2009. In search for intelligence, a silicone brain twitches. So this book was written in 2010. It was published in 2010. Look at that article from Wall Street Journal. That's right. Wall Street Journal. I just shut off again. That's it. I'm done. I'm done running it. I'm done. Y'all, we gotta go. We gotta go night night. It's pouring down rain. It's 8:40, and I apologize to anybody who thought this was going to be a normal live stream. But now you've gained some clarity into what can be done. What can be done with a virtual reality headset. Um, you have a wonderful evening too, Rosie Pie. I wonder if a EMP would have the capacity of shutting down the brain chips. Rainy eye, you law. It is raining. I hear it on the roof. They won't force everybody to get the brain, but you're going to have to get that neural implant. Elon Musk said he's going to have big factories, and the robots are going to be the one who sticks the chips in the heads, the implants. That's what he said. They're going to be the one who drills the hole. It's really fine thread like, and they're just going to stick it to your head for now until they can just get. Oh, their goal was to give you a body to go with that silicone brain. Yeah, I'm not doing it either. We'll probably be dead by then. We'll probably be gone. The bots got all paranoid, you all. Yeah. We got 256 thumbs up and 166 people watching. I bet there's a lot more than 166 people watching. I really do. Yeah, they got the power. I think Rosie is laying down on the bed on the other side of the room. Yeah. Um, so I found that book squished up, and I was supposed to find it because in the video I did earlier today, it's titled Your Soul Tribe. Your Soul Tribe. I spoke something about this, about they want to do this in that video, and that was in that book. I turned to the back of the book and I read it in the future. So it's Saturday night, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to stick on no virtual reality headset and have any type of intimacy with somebody through the virtual reality headset. I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not. But this will be the generation that will be the only thing they know. That will be the only thing they know. It will be completely normal. They'll see nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. They'll see absolutely nothing wrong with it. Oh, yeah. It's like, wow. So you better get ready. Get ready, you all, because that's what's going to head this way. It's already here. It's already here. And would you be surprised if Mr. Musk has a 3D silicone brain? He's probably got the implant in his head already. 'Cause they did talk about going to Mars and stuff. There was a series that they were talking about. They found a series of books. It was called the Planet Nine series. There is a series of old books called the Planet Nine series. You should look for it. Whatever that. I think that's Nibiru or something. Yeah. You got the muskrat. Thank you for the heart flying up the screen. Yeah, somebody's getting mad. The more you learn, the more it's going to get mad. What is tonight? Is it Saturday night? You all, what day is it? Do I know what day it is? It's Friday? I thought it was Saturday because my husband was off all day and he went to spend the day with his parents and he normally does it on Saturdays. I thought it was Saturday. Oh my gosh, I kind of make myself get embarrassed. Yeah, a little embarrassed, make my face red on the live stream. Okay, I have a different type of kind of different type of a hot flash going on now, you all. I do. Got a red face hot flash. But guess what? If you had a if you had a 3D silicone brain, you wouldn't even get hot flashes. Your face wouldn't get red or nothing. You wouldn't. I'm gonna stay human. I like my carbon based brain. I like my carbon based body. I'm going to stay human and I want to experience all the emotions that a human experiences, is what I want to do. I'm going to experience them all. Yeah, no, that's right. The clocks are going back tonight. That's okay. That's fine. You all, it's International Women's Day. We got the women here. We got some men who may have their feminineness. It's International Women's Day. I'm working out. I am just only a tad bit. Your muscles have memory. Your muscles have memory. So if you had muscles before you stopped working out, and it won't take too long before they remember what they're supposed to do. So your muscles got some memory in them. That's right. We got it. I did another video. I stretching those pink things on a. It's a upload. It's like 4 minutes long. Stretching the rubber band things like that. Never used them before. I actually picked that up at the Goodwill. It's been, around 6 months ago or something. I thought, "Oh, wow, look at that. It's pink. I think I'll get it." My face is not as red anymore, you all. Okay, it's Friday night. Gina, Nancy, honey, where's my water? I've been drinking water. That's what I've been drinking. No, I thought today was Saturday because he's does like every other Saturday, he'll go spend the day with his parents. Sometimes he doesn't, but I thought, well, he's off of work. It's Saturday. That's right. It's life. Rosie drank all of this, but I had to pour the rest in her bowl and get me some new ones. She's going to from now on have purified water. She drank around probably a eighth of a cup or maybe a fourth a cup of water from this when my husband poured some purified water inside here. You can drink whatever you want. That's Yancy, and I will drink whatever I want. Listen, it's not going to be much. It's not. Yeah. Yes, I am human. I'm so human. I'm only human. Gets at that song. Show me the way to do every day what I must do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. So for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, you all, we can do it. Good night, you all. I am kind of, now I've got to reorganize my thoughts and let it sink in that today is Friday because I thought it was Saturday. You seen it. It's right. We got it going on. We do. So that book, I'm not going to read any more of that book. I don't even know what the outcome of this book is. They're probably going to chapter 44. Um oh, this talking about a grid address. The grid address in chapter 44. We'll have to come revisit this right here. I'm not doing it tonight. Oh my gosh. Even if one did lose access to God, hypothetically, I couldn't verify it. They said because of the grid. The grid. They got hooked up to the grid. By 2026, no, by 2029, that is the year when the WEF said when they have 6G in, they'll bring the rest of the humans online through 6G. By 2029, they will bring the rest of the humans online with the 6G. Have y'all been seeing? You've been seeing a light flash in here, like over here. I don't think it's me, is it? That causes a light to like flash. Chapter 44. I've been seeing it and I don't know where it's coming from, but I don't feel any negative energy. I'm going to we're going to look at that another time, not tonight. There's something to it. I don't want to Elon Musk got his Neuralink up there in the sky and all of that. All right, I'm going to go. So with that being said, hello wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and happy International Women's Day. And please give this video a thumbs up. And thank you to everyone who's watched. And thank you for your comments. I didn't know all of that about virtual reality. That's kind of like, wow. And I wasn't expecting to even go in that bookshelf today. I've been thinking about it, but I wasn't even expecting to find that book and then a note to Gina. So that's right. I'm going. Thank you, moderators. Thank you all. Love you. I'm going to push the button.